If you're preparing for interviews for roles like AI engineer, data scientist, or cloud specialist, then you absolutely need to watch this video. This is a hands-on project that will not only help you crack your interviews, but also be a fantastic addition to your resume. Today we are going to walk you through how to build your very own movie recommendation system using Azure Machine Learning. But before we dive into that, here's a quick bit of information for anyone looking to land a high-paying job in AI, machine learning, or Agentic AI. If you're struggling to land that dream job, we have a completely free masterclass where our experts will discuss a proven 3-step framework and a complete roadmap that has helped many of our learners like Shrija, Mark, Devashish, Steve, and many others land high-paying jobs and certifications. So check it out. The link is in the description and pinned in the comments. And also we run weekly free masterclass with experts. So now let's get back to the video. In today's session, we will dive into using data from the movie database and Google search results, and we will cover setting up Azure Machine Learning, building a pipeline, training the model, and deploying it for real-time recommendations. Plus, we'll show you how to handle key resources like data, container registry, and application insights. And by the end, you will see how Azure Machine Learning empowers you to build, test, and deploy powerful AI models. So stay tuned and let's get started with building your own movie recommendation system.
Okay, so we have one project, okay, which is from K21. We are going to go ahead and make use of Azure Machine Learning platform, okay, to be able to build a movie recommendation system. Again, to be very frank, if we can directly connect to any search and be able to find the response, that should also be good enough to be able to recommend us something, right? So right now I'm searching directly on the Google search. We can even search, like when I'll show you that project that was being created by me right away, like an hour before, I'll just show you that actually I'm searching it directly on the Google search, okay, and getting the response. But if we want to search it maybe on some website, we can even go ahead and do that. So there I'm making use of two things. One is a Google search. Okay, and second thing that I'm using apart from Google searches, there is one website, okay, which has the rating. Name is TMDB. Okay, ratings are there on the website from where I'm getting the rating with the help of Google search, and then I'm able to go ahead and rank the result that we are getting from there. Okay, that's a very nice thing wherein we are using Azure OpenAI. This is what I have created for that. But before we go ahead and look into this, let me just explain you the project, which is about movie recommendation using conventional Azure machine learning. Okay, so when we are trying to perform this, the first thing that we need to have is we need to have something called as, we need to go to the portal. Once we go to the portal, if you are aware, people who have not taken machine learning, they may not be aware, but let me just show you that there is something called as all services, within which we have AI plus ML, within which we are right now using Azure machine learning, where we can build our own machine learning model. Okay, this is where we can build our own machine learning model. And with respect to movie recommendation, we are actually going to go ahead and use this service, which is going to help us build our own machine learning model. So what I have done right now is I'll go to the home page. I'll go to the resource group, and herein I have created one resource group by the name Project MLRG. Once we go to this resource group Project MLRG, we can see there is something called as workspace. Okay, now I would like to know, I think everyone is new to this Azure machine learning, right? So I'll just explain you why are we using this. Okay, since you're new, let me just explain. So there is something called as Azure machine learning in Azure. This Azure machine learning helps us to build our own ML model. Okay, we can build our own model, not use the existing model, build our own model, and then deploy the model and use the endpoint, consume the endpoint to get the prediction. This is what we can go ahead and do. So basically, we can first build our own model. It's an end-to-end platform. Okay, first you can pass your data, then you can pre-process the data, then you can build your model, then you can deploy your model. Okay, then you can consume the model once it is deployed via the endpoint to get the prediction on the model. So this is what we call Azure Machine Learning. It's a service. It's a service in Azure that helps us build our own machine learning model, deploy, consume, everything we can do. So Azure Machine Learning helps us do end-to-end machine learning model development. You can say machine learning model development, not saying consuming the machine learning model itself, developing the model and then consuming the model. Our own model we can do via Azure Machine Learning. Now, what happens when you create Azure Machine Learning resource? This is your primary resource. Okay, this is your primary service that you're going to use, or you can say you need to create an instance of this primary service. You call it as primary resource. Now, when you try to create this resource, what basically happens is this resource also requires some secondary resource. Okay, so one of the resource that it requires is storage to store the data. Okay, second resource it requires is key vault if required to store the secrets. Third resource that it requires is container registry to you can say to register your images as Docker image, application as Docker image. Then we also have something called as application insight. I'm just giving a brief, guys. We have this to be covered in the next set of sessions that we are going to take. Okay, so again, I'll repeat. When you create Azure Machine Learning primary resource, it creates on its own some secondary resources. Okay, some secondary resources are by default going to get created. That means this is the main resource and this is a dependent resource. So I can call this primary resource as independent resource. Okay, or I can say this, yeah, you can call this as main resource, and this are known as dependent resources. Okay, dependent resources. So what are the dependent resources? You get Azure storage, you get a key vault, okay, you get an application insight, okay, sorry, you get an application insight. And if I can just show it to you, what do you get when you create? I'll just explain it to you from here. When you create your Azure Machine Learning workspace, what do you get? You get a storage account, also you get a key vault, you get application insight. This is separately created, and you get container registry, but it is optional to create right now. Container registry is optional to create right now. If required, you can create, or container registry is like a Docker image of your application. If you want to store Docker image of application, then you may require container registry. So this gets automatically created when you deploy the model, okay, to endpoint. When you deploy the model to an endpoint, at that point of time, container registry will automatically be created, okay, which will contain the image of your application. And when we say image, it contains your Python code as well as the dependencies that are required, like the environment and everything that is required, dependencies. Okay, so it takes Python, it takes your Python as well as dependencies, whatever is there, containerize it as an application so that you can deploy it directly to any virtual machine and get the endpoint to consume it. Okay, I hope everyone is able to make sense what I'm saying right now. What is container registry? No worries. Just to help you understand, I'll just search for container registry. Container registry. Registry. Can you see container registry? I'll click on this container registry. I'll give you the definition from here. Or let me come here. Let me go to create a resource. Let me search for container registry. So if I search for container registry, here you can see that we do have a container registry. And if I hover over it, you can see create a Docker private registry as a first class Azure resource. I hope that makes sense. So why do we require this? I'll click on this. This is just to keep it simple. What do you get? You get an image. Okay. You get an image. like how you have Dockers. I hope you all are aware about Dockers. So you get a Docker image. In the Azure, if you want to create a Docker image, then you can make use of container registry to store it. This is the place where you store the image. Okay, is that okay? So I'll just explain you again. See, I built up application. Okay, I used Python and I used some packages. Okay, with Python, and after that there is a requirement, right? There is some GPU, CPU, machine requirement, CPU requirement. Okay, whatever we require CPU, we require package, we require basically the Python SDK. Everything that we require will help us build what? It will help us build a Python application. Okay, so along with Python application, you may want to install Python. You may want to deploy some packages like scikit-learn, TensorFlow. You may require a specific CPU. All those, because this will be, you can say this is your software thing, and this is your hardware requirement. I'll just put it this way. Now, and this is your app. This is your app. Okay, now this app, when you want to run this app, suppose this is the application which is running. If you want to run this app as an endpoint, you want to run this app as an endpoint, HTTP endpoint. Okay, when you want to run it as an HTTP endpoint, so that user can enter data. Okay, and and model will give the response. Model will give response via endpoint, HTTP call. Okay, simple. Now, when you want to do this, okay, this model that might be consumed over a web page, okay, this model that will be consumed, this model, right? So we have a model that might be consumed over a web page. This model, when the user sends the data, when the user sends the data to invoke the model, we also need to have the software. Suppose this is my virtual machine, this is my VM. Okay, now onto this VM, when we are going to call the model, suppose the model is there somewhere here. This model needs to have the Python packages, need to have the correct CPU to be able to give the response back to the model, right? So whenever, suppose this is my model, whenever I want to run this model, suppose the user has asked a question and it will go to the model. But this model should be feeded with, should already have the software, should have the software and and hardware. Okay, so that we do not have any compute issue or we do not have any compatibility issue. In that regard, what do we do? Since we are going to deploy this application which is going to build, okay, this app, okay, when, or you can say model, whatever you want to say. Since we are going to deploy the model, you can call it this way. Since we are going to deploy the model, we need to deploy it along with our software and hardware. So this, what do we do? The model, software, environment, hardware, I'll not say hardware, basically the software that we require, and you can say the hardware that we will use. Basically, what do? We try to bundle this together. What do? We try to bundle this two together as a Docker image. Okay, Docker image. And for that, Azure has its own Docker image you can create, and you need to store the Docker image, right? You need to store the Docker image. And to store the Docker image, you make use of Azure Container Registry. I hope that makes sense to all of you. Is that okay? We need to create Azure Machine Learning project. And I'll again repeat, when you create Azure Machine Learning resource, what do you get? I'll again repeat, you get application insight. Just look into this. Now, why do we require application insight? Generally, it is required because when you're going to deploy the application, you would like to track the user data, right? Track the user information as well as the data that they are feeding. Okay, so that you can have a dashboard on top of it. So for that, you get application insight. You get key vault, you get storage account, and here container registry is not being specified. container registry because it is an optional thing. But there is also one more thing, log analytics workspace. This is automatically created when you create application inside. You do not have any option. If this gets automatically created, I'll just show you. I'll just search for application inside. If I come up here, let me hit on this. Let me hit on create an application inside. The moment you want to create an application inside, here you can see by default log analytics workspace is going to get created. Now what is this? Application inside. It's the insight of your application, basically user data, application data, user plus app data. You will be able to store here. And log analytics workspace helps you pass it to maybe a Power BI dashboard. Log analytics workspace is by default available, which helps you track the logs, the details over a dashboard. Okay, then again, you need to have a Power BI connection for that, but you can track it via the log analytics workspace. So you collect it here, you log it here, and then you display it over a dashboard. So that's the reason you do get this aspect also. Okay, I'll again repeat. Then if I ask you, when you create Azure Machine Learning to build your own machine learning model, okay, when you create Azure Machine Learning resource to build your own machine learning model, what all things do you get? You get a key vault wherein you can keep your secrets. Okay, like if there is any secret that you want to keep, you can use this. Okay, second thing, what do you get? Apart from key vault, you get storage account wherein you can store your data. Third thing, what you get container registry also if required. Okay, optional, but you can get it. But this gets automatically created at the time of deployment. And then you get app insights with log analytics workspace. So do remember there are multiple resources that gets created. So in total, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 are dependent resources and one is the main resource that gets created. In total, 6. This will be an optional thing, but you will see this will also get created. Simple. Yeah. What is resource group? It's like a container wherein you can keep your project, where you can keep your work that is being assigned to you. Now, what I have done, I have just got a project, right? So in this project, what have I already got? I have got the workspace. I'll just open this workspace right now. Okay, I've got the workspace. Now let me launch the studio. If you want to build anything on the workspace, then you need to launch the studio. So what are we going to do? I'll just click on this launch studio. The moment I click on launch studio, again, I'll repeat, from my workspace, I'm going to studio where I can build my model. Okay. I can build my model. Again, I'll give you a high level overview because this is about project, right? If you're new, automatically you will be able to learn all those aspects also going forward. That should not be a trouble at all. Okay. Now, I'll just put it simple. This is the place where you can build your machine learning model. Okay. Now, to build the machine learning model, there are different types of tools under the author section via which you can build your machine learning model. If you are good with Python, you can use notebooks like a Jupyter notebook. If you want to use a form kind of a thing, then you can use automated machine learning. If you want to use a GUI, graphic user interface, if you want to build it via GUI, then you can make use of designer. And if you want to build a GenAI solution, again I'll repeat, not a model. If you want to build a GenAI solution, then you can make use of prompt flow, which is also a GUI based interface with some coding that you can add, but it will be a GUI based interface. Okay. Now, what are we going to do in today's project? I'll just take you here. So what are we able to cover? We are able to cover this workspace we have created, and we have launched the studio. Okay, and I have given you information, all other information that is required. Now, what do I need to do? I will use a tool called as designer from the authoring section on the left hand side. So here I can go to the designer. Okay, now what is a designer? It's a wonderful GUI based process that you can use to build your own pipeline. Okay, pipeline will start from data and end with evaluation. Okay, so you can build your own pipeline. You can use a custom pipeline or you can use a classic pre-built pipeline. Okay, now once we have this pipeline, I can hit on this new to be able to create a pipeline. Fine, I'll just hit on this new. The moment I hit on new, it will open up this kind of a process for me. This is my pipeline. Okay, let it open up. And here, if I click, you can see this is the window. So if I open here, you can see there are two types of, see, when we say pipeline in a GUI, basically the components, okay, are already built by Azure. We just need to drag and drop the component. I'll explain you what do we have. So basically this is my, what you can say, options. We have the options here. This is my canvas where I can drag and drop the things from the options. This is my canvas. Here I have two types of options. One is data and another is component. Okay, so we have data as well as component. Then this is the name of the pipeline job. Okay, here when we click on this, we can submit the pipeline. Okay, and then there is a very small button here. This small button will help you open the component. I'll again explain. So we have data, we have component, we have configure and submit to submit the experiment as a job, and then we have something called as this toggle button. I'll explain you. So first let me go to the data component. Here you can see there are some data components that are available with us. Okay, so there is some data component that is available. And what is this data component? I only created this data component. Okay, if you see the author, who is the author? I am the author for this. Okay, if you want to see all, you can check if there is any other. Right now there is only one. Okay, so anything that you will create, you will see it here. And anything that is pre-built available, you will be able to see it here. Okay, now there are 95 total component, out of which there are 16 sample data component. Now, what do we mean by this? Basically, we all know, suppose if I want to build something as a pipeline, first thing is I will have to ingest my data. Okay, so I'll ingest my data. After ingesting the data, I would like to do something called as, maybe I want to pre-process my data. This is just a high level view. Okay, I want to pre-process the data. Now, once the data has been pre-processed, what will happen next? See, again, remember, whatever has been ingested was the input. Whatever is going to come out of this, okay, this will be my output. Simple. So whatever has been ingested after pre-processing, that will change, right? So suppose there was some pre-processing that happened. Okay, so I did some even manipulation in my data. Now the input data and the output will be different. So whatever is the output from here, maybe it is going to be using a machine learning algorithm. So we will pass a machine learning algorithm. Okay. Once we pass the machine learning algorithm, or maybe before that, once the data has been pre-processed, we will split it into two components. Maybe we will split the data into train and we will split the data into test. Why? Because now after this, I would like to train the machine learning. I would like to build my own machine learning model. So once the data has been pre-processed, I will split the data into train data and I will split the data into test data. Okay, so what I'm doing, the same input will come to two sections. The same input pre-processed will go to two sections. At one section, there will be 70% of data maybe. In another section, if 70% is here, 30% value will be here. Okay, so I want to train the model, right? So this is 70% and this will be 30%. I'm just giving an example. So I have 70% and 30%. Now, after this, I will select an algorithm. So here I'm selecting an algorithm. I'm selecting a ML algorithm. After selecting ML algorithm, what will I get out of it? I will be able to, tell me, I will be able to get a, anyone? So I'll pass the data, select an algorithm which will give me trained model. Okay. So whatever has been trained, next what would we like to do? We would like to test the model. Okay. And to test the model, again, remember this is trained model. So whatever has been trained, we would like to test the model. So we will pass the model and the data from here. You getting what I'm saying? You will pass the model and the data to test the model. Once you try to test the model, then you will get evaluation. Is it okay, everyone? Is it okay, everyone? Making sense what I'm saying? All right. I'll just put it in a more clearer way. So what I was saying, first we will have the data, then we will pre-process the data, then we will split the data, then we will select an algorithm, select algo, then we will train the model. Okay, we will not train the model, we will have a trained model. Okay, we will train the data on the algorithm to get the trained model, and then we will test the model. To test the model, what are we going to use? The data that has been split. One data will be used here to train. Train data will come here, and test data will come here. So after training, we will use the test data and the model to get the evaluation. Evaluation means we will check the performance of the model. Once we are okay with it, then we can deploy the model. So this is what we are trying to go ahead and do. Fine. Now, in that regard, all those things are available here directly as an input. So what are we going to do? We will take this one by one and try to understand. So the first thing that we need to do is we can search also, or we can go to the sample data. Here there are different types of data, and since we want to build a movie recommendation system, there is something called as IMDb movie title. Let me select this. And then there is something called as movie rating. Let me select this also. Okay, so these are two components that I have taken. Actually, to be very frank, if you right click here, you can preview the data also. But there is some issue right now happening that we cannot preview the data. But there is some data at the back end, okay? And here there is a rating of those movies. So we have some default component of the data already made available to us from Azure. So we are going to use this IMDb movie title and the ratings for those as two components. You can see these are my data, and this is the input and this is the data output. So whatever is there here is the input, and whatever will come out of here will be the output. So this is what we will try to go ahead and do. I'll just show you. So what are we trying to do? We are trying to go to the sample data, and we have selected something called as this movie rating and IMDb movie title. So you can see I have got movie rating and I have got IMDb movie title. These two things I have already got. Now what I'm going to do, I need to join these two, right? I need to join these two. So there are components available. This is pre-processing starting. A pre-processing can have hundreds of components. Okay, that's totally fine. It's not like one component will be equal to one thing. Like here you can see this two data will combine to give me a proper data, right? So we can use something called as join data. So what I'm going to do here, I'll just go to this and let me just say join data. If I search, I can see there are different things popping up. I'll just scroll down somewhere here. 1 second. If I scroll down here, I can see that there is something called as join data. What is the name of this? Just see the purpose of this. It's clearly mentioned what's the purpose. If you see, it's joins two data set on select by key column. So basically, if there is a common column, we can join that directly via this. So we will say this is the left data set and this is the right data set. Okay, so now what I need to do, I'll just click on this. Now, if you see, there was no parameter required here. There was no parameter required here. But if I see here, there is some issue because it is expecting some parameter. So if I click on this, I'll just click on this. Okay, you can click or you can select and click on this. Yes, these are pre-built components. These are pre-built components. Okay, you can create your own component and then you can call it directly under the pipeline. Totally possible. But right now, we are just talking about a designer machine learning component. Yes, we will do something similar to that. So I'll just click on join data. Now here it is saying join key columns for left data set. Which is the column in the left data set that you want to join into the right data set? So in that regard, I told you we are not able to see those columns, but I know the name and it was earlier available. So what I need to do, I'll just show you. First of all, I'll come here. I'll just say on the left data set, there is one column. Actually, we were actually able to directly see. Auto suggest the column only works when the upstream node is a data node and the schema exists for the data. So right now, I am not able to do the search and this is also not working. So there is actually one column. I'll just showcase that to all of you. There is one column in the left data, which is movie ID column. So I can copy this. We can also type it. That's okay. Okay. I'll just type and this is the movie ID column. So I'm saying movie ID column from this movie rating should match. Actually, we could have previewed and saw the name of the table. It's not getting displayed here. So movie ID I have put it. Can you see movie ID? And on the right side, the same name that we have, movie ID is available by the name. Here on the right side, the name is movie space ID. Actually, we are not able to see, which is a little astonishing, but we can just type movie. So when we will do for our data, we'll be able to see. So I'll just say movie ID. And I need to match the name or else it can be difficulty. But we will see in some time that there is something, okay? Once we'll run, we'll be able to see that. So now what are we saying? Movie ID on the left side should merge to the movie on the right side and then we should be able to join the data. Based on these two values are similar. Okay, so absolutely fine. So now I'll just keep the thing short and simple. And the only issue is actually we can see all these columns, but there is some issue. I don't know what is the problem. It is saying auto suggester. And I have seen this from 6 months, but maybe there is some issue. But we try to see this is what I have added on the left side. So basically there are two, you can say maybe an Excel. Okay. And we are trying to join these two. Okay. So we are trying to do an inner join between these two. So we are saying whatever is there on the right and left, we need to merge together and we need to give the name of those columns. Once we go do this, then we will join the data. So what I'm going to do right now, I'll just keep this as it is and let me just submit it for you because we are interested to see what is the component, right? So let me just do one thing, create an experiment, and I'm just going to see. It's not required to complete everything. So I'll just say join data experiment, just doing it for you. Okay, I'll just say join data experiment, join data job, because this experiment can be executed 100 times. And whenever we are going to run this experiment, we will have a job. So I'm just saying join data job one, I'm just giving it a name. Okay, or I'll just call it as job one, whatever you want to call it. So let me just call it as job one that is going to do joining of data. So let me just give some logical name. Next time, maybe I want to add some more steps so I can do that. Now, what I'm trying to help you understand in this experiment, like how you have experiments and observations in school, similar to that, we are saying in the experiment, we will have job. Job is going to be part of the experiment. Right now, I'm creating a new experiment. If you already have an experiment, you can add your job in that experiment also. I'll just say this is just going to join to data sets. Whatever you want to put, you can put it. And now I'll go to next. I'll go to next. And now I need to have a compute. So I can select any compute. I'll just select a compute. So it is already stopped. So what I can do, I need to keep that working. So let me launch the studio again. This is stopped, right? And I wanted to use this compute. Or maybe I'll use the compute directly. So there is something called as compute cluster, Kubernetes attached compute. I do not have any of those. So now on the left side, there is something called as compute. I'll go to the compute. I'll select this compute and I'll start this compute. Again, there is a whole lot of session. 40 hours we have, 32 hours to learn all this right now. To run the job, we need a compute. So I'm just starting a compute instance. Consider compute instance like your local machine running on Azure. a local machine available on Azure. You can call it as a compute instance. More of that. We'll get into that detail whenever required into the session. Right now, we'll just try to understand. So let us just start the compute. Once the compute is started, which I've already created, you can create your new compute also. So let this compute get started. All right, just allow it some minute to get this in place. So once this is running, then we can select it. Okay, then we can select it. So let it run. Okay, let it get started. Yeah, it's running. So let me just start it now. So I'll just try to select this. This is fine. Let me go to next. Let me keep it simple. There are other options that we can explore. But right now I'm running an experiment. You can see this is the experiment preparing to submit, running the job. Now, once the experiment is submitted, just go to the job section. Here you can see, if I refresh, you will see an experiment. Can you see an experiment? So this is the main heading under which there can be multiple jobs. The latest job is job 01 joining of data. So let me click on this. Under this, can you see there is a job joining of data? Okay, there is only one thing, join data. This is the work. If I go here, the reason I did is I wanted to show you that. So now the data has been joined. Everyone is there, all good. Now I'll right click on this. Here I can see preview data. Again, this was there here also, but when we were trying to see, I don't know what was the problem. We were not able to see. So now what I have done, I'll just click on this and let me just see whether I can see the result data set. And here I can see there was some issue, to be very frank, but now you can see the result data set. User ID, movie ID, rating, timestamp, movie ID, and movie name. Now can you see these two are matching? So this is the left one, you remember? And this is the right one. Now tell me, is there any duplicate that we need to eliminate? Duplicate is there, right? I hope you can see. I hope you all can see. Okay, so this is the result data set, okay, that we have in place right now. Yeah, yeah, we can schedule. Everything is possible, absolutely possible. That's a great question that you're asking. We can say create a schedule. Any new data, we can get the data from so many sources. Right now I'm just taking a dummy data. We can take a data that is coming from a data lake, okay, maybe join it, okay, and then whenever a new data comes, we want to run the model. Absolutely possible to do that. Okay, now I'll come back here.
And the
So the pipeline is just like a draft. This is still as a draft. You can click on this pipeline and you can edit the pipeline. You can run this, you can make addition of this pipeline, keep on editing this pipeline, keep on submitting it as a job in a part of an experiment. Is it okay? Call it as pipeline or movie recommendation. So now what I'm going to do, I'll just keep using this pipeline. Okay, pipeline for movie recommendation. This is the name I'm giving. Okay, and now I'll just say pipeline, any name you want. It's better to give some information. Pipeline for movie recommendation. Okay. Now I'll just click on save. Now this makes sense. So if I come to the designer and just scroll back, scroll down a little bit, you will see that now you understand this is a pipeline which I can use to do what? I can use this to be able to keep on submitting a job which will be part of my experiment. So right now I have just 3 columns. Now can I add more? Yes. I am not tweaking the job or the experiment. Again, I'll repeat, those are instance of the pipeline. Okay, now once we have that, now what do we need to do here? Once we have joined, now if you remember, I'll just show you. We are, see, again there are ways to do the things. Okay, there are always ways to do the thing. Now suppose I want to eliminate some thing via a Python script. I can directly also do. There are components, okay, that we can use to remove columns. If I show you, there is something called as remove column. Let me just check column. If I check for column component, add column, can you see? I'll just show you. Add column, join, edit metadata, summarize. So we only have this much, nothing with respect to. We can do some column transformation if we want. Okay, that's fine, but we cannot remove column. So for that, I'm going to execute a Python script. Okay, so let me just do one thing. Let me call it here. It is expecting some data sets. All right. So now I'll just explain you guys. Please be patient. Now what I have done, I have just added that component here. What is the name of the component? Execute Python script. And here you can see what are we doing here on the Python script. Clear the existing code. And we are going to enter this few line of code. What it is going to do, this is a function. Sorry, what is the problem? Just check. What are we saying? We here we can see that we are saying to select user ID, movie name, and rating column from the joint data set. Only select these three. There were many other things, right? I'm just saying I want to select these three. That's it. So now I can, sorry, there is some issue. I don't know what is the issue. Can't we copy this? What is this? I hope it's all correct. There is no issue with respect to, yeah, this is the issue. Looks to be all okay now. Let me just take it. Sorry for the trouble. So I can just come here. There is some script. Let me just remove the script. So we are just defining a function. Okay. And we are saying that we want to return df1 for this function. That's it. We can close this. And now we can connect it to, we can say that whatever is there here, we want to execute a Python script on top of it. That's it. Okay, now let me just show you. Once this is done, what do we need to do? So we need to provide the correct code. This is all okay. Now what do we need to do next? Now we need to remove duplicate rows. So for removing duplicate rows, now after when this Python script is going to get executed, we should be able to remove the duplicate rows. So basically from this join data, after, see, we can't put anything in this join data, right? So these two together are actually inputs. Okay, these two together actually are inputs which are going to go ahead and help us remove the duplicate rows. So when we want to remove the duplicate rows, what are we going to do? We'll just add the thing, remove duplicate rows. And here, what do we need to remove? We can just check movie name and user ID we want to remove. Okay, now if you see, we can actually, now I'll just show you what do we mean by this. See, the earlier when we ran the Python script, okay, we ran the Python script. There are two things. If you see our data, there are duplicate columns also, and then there are duplicate rows also. And if you remember, there were some duplicate rows. If you want to see, I'll just come here. Let me come here again. Yeah, if I click on this, if I show you this data, can you see there are some duplicate. If you can see, what are we selecting? Running a Python script, we are selecting user ID. We are not interested in movie ID. We are not interested in this. We are only interested in user ID, rating, and movie name. After this, so these three we are doing via Python script. Okay. After this, we want to remove duplicate rows. So if you want to remove duplicate rows, can you see there are duplicate rows? So for this, we are directly making use of a component which is going to remove duplicate rows if there are any. Okay, and this is not the whole, there are 44,000 rows. Okay, we are only able to see a sample of it right now. Okay, is everyone clear with what I'm saying? So yes, there are two data frames, but we are only using returning one value from one of the data frame, because that is good enough for us. Everyone is clear with what I'm saying, these two functions. So first execute Python script. If you want, you can execute it. If you want, we'll just submit the experiment. We'll just see, create, select an existing experiment, join data experiment. Here I am going to say job to remove or select columns using what? What are we using? Select columns using anyone? Select columns using. Okay, so let us wait for this. So once I submitted, I can come here, join data experiment. Here I can see another experiment popping up in some time. If you see here, I have joined data. This is fine. Now select column. If you can see, execute Python script is working out. Let it queue. So I'm just running one experiment, which is execute Python script. Join data experiment. Under this, I can select this. And here you can see I'm executing Python script. I'm just trying to help you understand, guys, everything with respect to this. It's a good way to understand things from scratch or step by step rather than just seeing everything as an output. What execute Python script doing? Python script, you'll see the things. This Python script, once it is executed, you will see what are we returning. We are only returning three things, Purvi. We are returning three values. In our data set, there are multiple things, okay? What are we saying? We just need to return this three from our data set. That's it. Okay. Let it get executed. Almost done. Okay, there is some issue. What might be the issue? Let me just check. Sorry. Just a minute. I hope I have written everything correctly. Need to check. Hope I have written correctly here. Is everything fine? DF1, data frame 1. Oh, sorry. Can you see data frame 2 is equal to data frame 2? I've written it twice. Sorry. Now it's fine. Let me save. Let me configure and submit. I'll just do one thing. This is done. This is changed. Now let me just say configure and submit. And let me submit this again. Try to understand there was some issue that I created. That's the reason. Now if I come here again, you will see one more job getting created in this. I'll just show you. I'll go to the job. Join experiment is the experiment. Let me click on this. This is running right now. I think this is the correct thing, right? This is the job that is running. Yeah. There was an issue. I just made an error here. That's the only thing. Just give it some time. Just give it some time. Okay, hopefully it should work now. If I have not made any mess with respect to copy paste. Again, there is an issue. I think it is absolutely same. No issue as such. Okay, sorry. Can you see this? Indentation? Sorry. Indentation was required. Sorry for this. That's fine. And there is one more thing that I would like to tell you. The more we make error, the better it is for us to learn, right? Until we are understanding things. Let us submit it again. We'll come here again to the job. We'll go to this experiment. Within this, we will see another job getting created. Let me refresh. And now you can see this is the job and hopefully this is completed now. Now if I go to preview data, we can see we have two data sets. Result data set. I'll just show you both. Result data set. Okay, so now you can see this is what we have. Okay, and if I go and show you another data set, result data set 2, there is nothing here because this is just a dummy thing, but this is the result data set. So we have selected only 3 columns of our interest. Okay, now what is the next thing that we need to do? We'll come back here. What's the next thing? We need to remove. There was something, right? What was the thing? This is done. Remove something was there, right? Can you help me out? Remove duplicate something, right? Remove duplicate rows. So we can try that out now. Remove duplicate rows. If there is only one thing, there was nothing for remove duplicate columns. Now, once this is done, we need to select which data set, 1 or 2. If you remember, select the first one because second one is already empty. So now select this. Here we need to specify which are the duplicate, which column do we need to go ahead and use. So in that regard, what are we saying? We are just going to edit the column and we are going to say in the movie name and the user ID, if there is any duplication, remove it. What are we saying? In the movie name and the user ID, if there is any duplication, remove it. So we'll click. Actually, we should have been able to type. I don't know what is the problem. Actually, if we click on this, we should be able to, right now, not possible to see. That's the only thing. Actually, it used to show automatically. So let me just type. So that's the reason we should type the correct thing. That's the reason I ran it once. Okay, so that we can actually see that these are the correct names. Okay, retain first duplicate row. That's fine. We can do that. And now let me just, again, if you want to run, we can run. We'll just run it again. In the same experiment, if you want to run, you can run. Let me just change the experiment. So now I'll just say join data experiment. And this is, what do we say? Remove duplicate. Okay. Now let me just click on submit. Same thing we are doing. Again, we'll go to the job. We'll select this experiment. Within some time, we'll see one more thing popping up. It will show up here. Just give it some time. It should show up here itself. Yeah. Can you see? This is the thing. It will run very fast because we are running step by step. I think this is also done. We just need to refresh to see that this is done. A green means it is done. Now, if I show you, we will see that the duplicate has been removed. Hopefully, from where did we remove the duplicate? User ID and movie name, right? Should have been removed. How come it has not removed actually? This is strange. Is it not removed? User ID? User ID. Okay, okay, okay. For every user, the movie's duplicate is different. If one user has added duplicate, double duplicates, then it will remove. Is it okay? Now, once this is done, we'll come back here again. What do we need to do? We'll just try to do the things again. Now, once this data pre-processing, so to be very frank, all this is data pre-processing. From here, join data till here. All this is my many components together. All these components together are data components, data pre-processing. So it's not like just one component. We can have multiple component doing the things for us. Now, once this is done, what are we required to do? So there is something called as SVD recommender. Now, if you want to understand what is SVD recommender, we can make use of smartly. We can go to GPT to get that issue resolved for us. So explain in simple terms with example for a layman in very short. What is SVD recommender? So first of all, it is single value recommendation like a smart guesser. Okay, it looks at what people have liked, watched, and tries to fill in the blanks for what they might like next. Just to show, there are person you, Alice and Bob, 5, not aware, 3, and not aware, 4, 2, not aware, 5. So you rated movie A is 5-star, movie C as 3-star. You never rated movie B or D. SVD breaks this big table into hidden patterns. Okay, like you like this action but not romance. This is what, like, this is if it is related to action, if it is related to romantic movie, it will try to go ahead and then it predicts your missing rating. Basically, what it is going to do, it will club. I'll just explain you. Suppose if movie 1 is related to romance, movie C is related to romance. Okay, and suppose your rating is 8. 8 divided by 2 will be how much? 4. Okay, so if this movie is also a romantic movie, then it will give it as an average rating. This is what it is going to do. Simple. Okay, so what it is going to do, a metric that looks at everyone's rating and then tries to find what is the correct thing. Okay, so there is something called as SVD, which we are going to do to go ahead and do a movie recommendation for us. We'll see that aspect again going forward. So first we need to use this SVD and we need to go ahead and select this SVD, train SVD. So for that, let me just come up here and let me just select for SVD recommender. There is train and then there is score. Score basically means, what do you say? Score basically means compare, output, evaluation. Before evaluation, we have score. So first we train the model. We'll just select. Here we can pass some parameters, how many factors, okay, number of recommendation algorithm, learning rate is also there. Again, these are all related to what you can say. If you want to slow down the process, you can slow down the learning rate. That is all fine. We can put that value and we can just come out of it and save this. So we have just done a train SVD recommender, almost done. Okay, so once we are done with this train SVD, what do we need to do? Now, after this, we are going to do this. Select columns in dataset. So I'll just show you. If you remember, there were two things, right? Now, there was, okay, there is also split data. I think I forgot. correct? Split data is also required. We have got the data. Just you can select and delete this. Select and delete. I need to put the split data component. So now let me just do the split data thing. Split data. I'll just select this. Now I want to split the data, right? So whatever has been coming out from here, I'll put it here. This is my input here. Whatever has been got pre-processed. Now here, if I double click on this, here we have options. How do you want to split? So I want to have 70% at the training time and 30% I want to have at the testing time. What type of split do you want to do? Randomized split. Okay. And this is 70-30 I am putting. Stratified, I can say true. Are you aware what is stratification? Yeah, balance of classes, we call it as stratification. Yeah. So just to show that aspect to you, let me come here to explain you stratification. Let me show. So basically, we are interested into ratings. We want to predict the rating, right, for a new movie. Just to keep it simple. Okay, any movie that is going to come, we need to predict the rating. So I want to have balance of, you can say, values in train and test data set. So in that, I can select this rating and I can put it here. I can just say based on, I want us balance input and output condition. I'll just explain you in a simple way. What do we mean by stratification? Stratification. So what is stratification? I'll just say, suppose ratings. Okay. Or I'll say movie, liked or disliked. I'm just giving an example because rating is also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. That is also a category kind of a thing. So suppose why, no, 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 why, why. Let me just put it as why, maybe this way. So I've got how many values if we count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 8, 10. If I say 60-40 split, 60 in the trained data set, 60% and 40% in the test data set. At the time of training, if I say 60% of this, how much will be 60% of 10? 6. And how much will be 40% of 10? 4. That's sure. Now in this 6 also, we want a balanced of yes and no. What we are saying? We want a balance of yes and no. Now tell me how many yes are there? 6, right? So when we are saying balance of yes and no, so there should be 4 yes and how many no's? 2 no's. Making sense? I hope that makes sense. 60%. Now that means, sorry, I'll just say, yeah, 4 yes and 2 no's. And whatever is pending, what is pending? 2 yes and 2 yes and 2 no's. This is what we call, we try to have a balance. Whatever is the most possible balance, we try to give a balanced data set at the time of training and then at the time of testing. This is called as stratification. Is it okay? You're getting what I'm saying? Stratified is a far better way to do splitting of the data. Is that okay? Let me just come here. I'll just say, what have I done? I've just done stratification, right? So I'll just show you the result of stratification also. That's fine. Let me just say split and stratified data. Okay. Let me select this. We can change the experiment name if you want. We can call it as 5 or something maybe. Now let me just submit. Now try to understand what is happening. If I go to the job, let me refresh. We'll go to this and we will have 5th number coming up in some time. Fifth. Where is the 5th? I've just changed something here, right? Is it not submitted? Yeah, it's submitted. 5th one. Where is the 5th one? Jobs, join. Where is the 5th one? Can anyone find? I think I have given the name as 5th one. Let me open it in the new tab. Okay. Okay. Have I not added stratification here? Have I not added stratification? Yeah, sorry. I need to remove this first. If you want, we can add that also. Right now, I just wanted to show stratification. So let me just do this way. I'm not sure what I did. Yeah, this is fine. Looks to be fine. Let me submit. Yeah, this is fine now. Let it submit. Yeah, this is the thing. We'll just wait. Try to understand. Everything is already, see, it is taking, it will not run the steps that are already executed in my process. Okay. It keeps the information until there is some change. So we have not just split the data, we are also stratified the data, and you will see that aspect right away. We have done stratification based on ratings. Okay. So do remember that. This is done. Let me preview the data and just see this. See this aspect, guys. I'll just click on this rating. Do check this out. How many values are yes and how many like we just have 8, 9, 7 something, right? So first of all, we need to have it as Boolean just to help you understand what is basically going to happen. There will be equal number of rating values in this. That's the only thing. Like I'll just show you. Okay, so if I show you this, this is data set 1. Okay, so how many 8 will be there here? Number of 8s, 5, 7, 6, 4, everything will be at a balanced rate. You're getting what I'm saying? It will be balanced. 31,476 will have balanced value of this. The range will be same. Just see the range here. I'll just take a screenshot if you want. Just see the range. It is around 7.5. For 30s, for 31,000, it is coming around 8, 8K, you can say. 9 to 10 is 8K in 31,000. Now, if I show you another data set, there are two, right? Split one. Let me select this. And if I show you here, you will see in 14,000, how much is there? Can anyone? 4,000, right? Is it okay? So how much was there? 8,000 was there in how much, guys? 8,000 was there in how much? 31,000, right? And around 3,900 is there in, tell me, 13,500. Can we do a calculation of this and see whether it is stratified or not? Number of 9 to 10 ratings. This is, we are talking about rating between 9 to 10. Okay, I'll just do it on the cell phone. Can anyone check it out because I can't change the screen? 8,000. I'll just say 8 by 31. It is coming out to be 2.58. I'm just taking an approximate value. And absolutely making sense, right? It must be equal. I've just made a rough estimate. Yeah, 2.8. So actually it is 2 point same only, but I have just made a rough estimate because I just considered something to be something. Okay. So you will see this is stratified. Everyone is clear what is stratification now? Clear what is stratification? It gives us a balanced approach when we do some kind of a data split. Okay. Now, once this is done, we'll try to run this before we go. So now what do we need to do? Now try to understand this train SVD. So training will only happen based on this, guys. Train data set will go for the training, right? Why will we do anything else? So now I'm going to do just train SVD. So let me open this. Let me just, where is the thing? I think train SVD, we can check. Where is the thing? Where was I? I'll go to my designer. I'll go to my pipeline. Let me close all nonsense things which are not important right now. Let me just say SVD. Okay. So I'll just say train SVD. Let me put it somewhere here. Train SVD. After this, training will only happen. This is the train data set. Remember, the first one was the train one. Okay, the second one will be for the testing, which we will use later. Okay, now after it is trained, what would we like to do? We would like to test. So to test, Azure has the way to say score. So now I would like to test. To test, the train model will come here and this test data set will come here. Okay, again, I'll repeat. First, I'll train from the trained data set, which is 70%. Then I'll use the data set 2, which is 30%, to take the trained model and the test data set to test it. That's it. Now I'll just click on this. Okay. Now I'll again go to this and I'll say join data experiment, job display name. I'll just say pipeline in test. Anything you want to say, I'll just say job 06 to have the sequence. Okay, and I'll just say train test. Everything is set. So I'll just click on submit. Now once this is done, I'll go to the job. I'll go to my experiment. It is still submitting. Give it some time. It's submitted now. Now here we will be able to see a new one, which is train test. And we should be able to, everything is in place. So it will just do this aspect. Split is already done. It will train the model and then it will take the test data set, the trained model, to get you the score. And we'll see that what do we mean by score. Until then, if you come here to the designer and if you go to the draft pipeline, and I'll just show you this aspect. Okay, if I click on this here, this is fraction of output in the first output data set, which is result data set 1, and automatically fraction of output in the second will be result data set 2, which we are using for score. Let it run. Now if I run score data set, and we'll see the results in action. Sorry, let me just close this and let me just open. Now you can see this is what we are getting as the rated information. I'm not sure. Rated, yeah, what this is the rating. Okay, fine. So rated item 1, rated item 2. I am not sure. This person has given the rating, right? This has, okay, top 5 we might have asked, and this is the second, this is the third user who have gone ahead. This person has given, almost got the rating for everything. Okay, now this is what we have as a scored one. Now after this, there is also one important thing, evaluate. Okay, so this is done. I'll just try to, I think this is almost done if I'm not wrong. Why are we using this select column in dataset? Okay, okay. Why do we require select column? I'm not sure. User ID. Okay, if we want to do some kind of a thing, we do not want to show all, so we can select username, which I have not done. We can do that. Okay, so we can select some columns from this split from this and then pass it here. That's our wish. Okay, I think what I have done, select columns. If I come here, I have not selected any column, to be very frank. If I come here, so user, what it is asking us to select, can we just check? User ID and movie name. And what have we done? User ID and movie name. Okay, we do not, okay, movie name is there already. Let me just do one thing, if you allow me. Let me just play with this. Delete. Let us just add select columns. See what thing will we get separated. Select columns in dataset. Let me run this. What are the columns that I'm interested to check? I'll just check user ID and movie name. So double click. Let me type it properly. User ID, comma, movie name. It should be absolutely correct. I don't know why are we not able. Okay, the name is not correct. Second. Sorry, I can't do it this way. I need to go to edit again. Now I can type user ID, comma, movie name. Let me just check what is the thing that is changing. Not checked it in this much detail. You just run, save, configure and submit. I would recommend to do that. And let me just say, this is job 7 in test with selected column. Sorry. Yeah, this looks to be okay. Let me just submit. I'll keep this open. Nothing to be changed here. Let me open the studio again. We'll just look into this first. Now I'll go to the jobs, experiment, Okay, train test. I think I have just executed. Is it there or not? Is it not submitted? I think it is submitted. What did it say? The port is empty. Okay. 1 second. I did not connect it. Okay. Now this is fine. Now let me just submit the seventh one. Should be all okay now. Pipeline looks good. The job is getting submitted. And this is all fine. Refresh job number 7. Wait for the job to be displayed here. So we are selecting 2 columns, user ID and movie name. And that should not affect actually because let's just check. What if we pass all? It will only select the things that are required because it is just going to score, get the evaluation more of a thing. Running. So we have selected 2 columns, only 2, user ID and movie name. This is almost done. Yeah, we can see the preview of that. This is what we have as a preview for train SVD, but this is the trained model, right? So you will not be able to see the model. Yeah. So this is model, right? So if I go double click on this, I'll show you what is basically happening. This is the model. Okay. This is the thing where we are getting the model. Okay. See, I'll just tell you. When we train the model, do we need to show the output or not? At the time of training, we need to show this or not? When we are training, this is the train data set. Do we show the output or not label? But when we are testing, we do not want to show the label. That's the only thing. We do not want to show the label. Is it making sense now? Even if you show, that doesn't really make any change. Things will be same. Okay? Even if you show, doesn't make any change, to be very frank. Because it is not going to select that. It will only do the scoring. Okay? Everyone is able to make sense. Yeah. So that does not make much sense even if you remove, but logically if you remove, that's a better thing. Now if we have scored and after scoring a recommendation type it also, that's great. Let us just check. That's nice. If I can also explore with you people, that can be good for me also. So where were we here? We'll just go to score and I like this. There is item recommendation, rating prediction. Okay, so if we select rating prediction, earlier we told item recommendation. Here it was saying minimum size of recommendation, maximum sites to be recommended. So if I say at least 5 to be recommended, and here if I say 10, this is nice. Okay, whether to return the predicted rating of the item. Do you want to return the predicted rating also? You know, predicted rating of the item. You can do that also. Okay, recommend from sorry, what it is saying, recommended item selection from all item for model evaluation. So if you want, you can say from all item, but I am right now saying from this. So here it will automatically do this. So let us just submit this also. What's the big deal, right? And then we can try for something else also if you want. So if we come here, job, again we are running this same thing again, this one. I think this is the thing. Let us just see. This has already executed. One of the thing, in if the pipeline output is already available without any tweak, it will automatically take. I'll show you where it is. Let me just show it to you right away. I'll just click on any one, not this one, any step which is pre-configured. There is something here called as run setting. Can you see? So not run setting. There is something called as input setting, output setting. Yeah. There is a process, okay, which automatically takes the thing that is already available. Can you see regenerate output? Only when you say regenerate output, it will regenerate, or else it will take that output that is already pre-generated. Okay, that's what is happening with us. Regenerate output is not required. If I click here, you will see everything will have regenerate. You need to select this, or else it will not regenerate until there is a change. Now this is done. We'll go to the preview and now we can see this thing. Yeah, only when data is changed, it will do. But if you want to regenerate every time, you can do that. Now, if we change here, we were here, right? Now we'll just come here. Maybe we want to do something called as rating prediction, predict the rating. Now let us just submit the same experiment again. Running one we want. Is it, there's something here running one. Everything is fine. I'll just go through the last step now. And then there is, let it run. And then we want to use evaluate recommender. Evaluate recommender. We'll just come here. This is fine. Let me just move it here. Evaluate recommender, maybe somewhere in the designer. Let's pick this. What do we need to do? Evaluate. Evaluate is just going to give you a proper metrics to measure. The things are like you want to see the things. So for evaluate recommender, the things are different. Okay. So just let me scroll down. Not this evaluate model, evaluate recommender. Just pass it here, the test data set. Now, when we want to evaluate, try to understand what are we trying to evaluate. Okay. So first we will pass the test data set. Okay. There are two things. First, test data set, and then we need to pass core data set. So from where are we getting the test data set? Test data set. You remember the test data set, everyone? Where is the test? Let me just, after the split right side, this one is the, this one, right? This is, so I cannot connect this. Let me remove. This is the test data set. I want to evaluate how is the test performance. Again, I can use this also. Okay. Test data set, and then we need the scored data set, which is this. I think this should work. Let me just check. Where is the thing? Where is the thing? Where are we connecting? Evaluate. Yeah, test data set is connected, and yeah, we can see score data set is coming from here. Okay, this is the test. Absolutely correct. Right. So if you want, we can put it more cleaner. Okay, like this way. This looks okay. So we are using the score data set. Okay, score data set means basically where we have the score. And this is the test data set. Now, if I run this, let me just run it simple once. We have this is done, I guess. Now let me just do 1:1. We can preview and see the metrics. And this is the metrics that we have got. Okay, 1.22 root mean square error. R2 score is pretty less, to be very frank, very less. And this is the variance. It is very less. So just to keep it simple, we do not find this to be good enough, to be very frank, if we see R2 score. Okay, the prediction wise. So that's one thing. Just wanted to help you understand this because we are using a dummy data set from the Azure. Now, once this is done, now there is an option to create. This is where your things have completed. This is what we have. This is where we have done the prediction and we have got the response. But this is not the end point, right? The end point will be when we create an inference pipeline, real time or batch. So maybe I'm going to say I want to deploy this real time. So I'll create an inference pipeline. Now, when we create an inference pipeline, I'll just hit on this. Okay, it will create a new pipeline. Just see pipeline movie recommendation. The name is going to change to pipeline movie recommendation real time inference. What happens in this is there is going to be automatically input and output thing popping up. I'll just show you. Web service is going to give the input. Here there are two inputs. I don't know why. I'll just remove one input. Okay. So web service, if you remember, these are all transformed module now. So web service input will come. Okay. Once the web service input will come, what it is going to do, it will give a web service output. So let me just keep it simple. I'll just remove the recommender also. I do not want recommendation. I'm okay with recommendation. I just want to get the scored, right? I want to get the model output. Again, I'll repeat. Web service input by default, I don't know why it gives 2 to points. It is not required. This is more like creating a pipeline which can be deployed into production, wherein the user is going to give the input on the web, okay, and the output is going to come after passing it through this all transformation. And now I do not require evaluation, so I'll delete it. I'll submit. I'll create an experiment. Okay, I'll just select the existing one, movie recommender, and I'll say real-time inference. I'm just running this as a pipeline. I'll just call a simple name. This one is better, real-time inference, and let me just submit. It is again going to just submit. Okay, I'll just show you. So once this is done, I'll come here. Let me go to the job. Let me open this, and you will see what is happening. Everything is going to be the same. Only we are adding two nodes and removing evaluator because now it is not required. Okay, so where is it? Pipeline movie recommendation. I think pipeline movie recommendation, is it? No, I just, where is that thing? It should be there somewhere. Okay, it is still getting submitted. Now it's fine. It should be somewhere. Let me open it somewhere in the new tab. This is my inference pipeline. Here I have just executed it. This is just going to run. Nothing is going to happen right now. What is basically going to happen after this if I refresh? Okay, everything is executed. Right now there is no input output. I'll just click on deploy. Now it is going to say you want to deploy it as a real-time endpoint. I'll just say yes. Okay, the moment I say yes, it is going to deploy it as a real-time endpoint on a compute. The moment I'll do this, what is going to get created when we deploy? Remember, we were having a discussion at the start. Container registry. So right now, if I come up here, okay, see if we refresh, what do we have right now? Nothing as such. Now, there is something called as container instance. Remember what I'm saying. See, container instance, you can say, is for testing. See, Kubernetes is very costly. So Azure has given you container instance, which can be used to deploy your image or deploy your application as an endpoint for testing, which is far cheaper, very cheap as compared to Kubernetes. So Azure gives you container instance. And for that, container instance picks the image from the Docker registry. That means container registry, Azure container registry. So when will it pick? The moment I'll create that endpoint is going to do the packaging for me. It will do the packaging of my application with SDK. It will create a compute. Okay. Run that image onto that compute, create me a Docker image, push that Docker image onto a container registry, and then deploy it as a application endpoint on container instance. I'll again explain. If I click on container instance and if I hit on create, you will see what I'm saying. You will see it is expecting an image from somewhere. So this is what I was saying. It is expecting an image from quick start from container registry. The moment you say container registry, it will expect an image to be coming here, which I do not have it right now. Making sense? So this is what I'm saying. So the moment you will do this, 1 second, okay? This one. The moment you will do, automatically deployment will happen. So I'll again explain. This is important. So the moment you want to create an endpoint, your packaging will happen. Packaging means your Python. See what is happening? Your model, okay, with dependency. Okay, so model with dependency means all configuration, packages that you want, okay, Python software you want, okay. So what is basically going to happen? There will be environment that will be created. An environment will be created. Now that environment needs to run on a virtual machine. So a virtual machine will be there. That environment, that means the packages will be installed on the virtual machine. Then your model will be built on this virtual machine. And when it is successful, when it is a success, that means the model has been built, tested with this environment. Then there will be a Docker image going to get created, a Docker. Okay. Docker image, basically an image is going to get created, which will be stored where? In Azure Container Registry. automatically it will happen. Then a container instance is automatically going to pick up that image, Azure container instance, okay, and give you an endpoint which you can consume as a REST API. I hope that makes sense to all what I'm saying. So when you click, it's not just a click, it's a whole lot of things. Let me just say, what is the thing? What are we doing? Movie recommend uh, point. I'll just say movie recommend engine. Okay, the moment I do, and here I'm not using Kubernetes because we need to set the Kubernetes. See, I have not set. So if you wanted something instantaneously, just say I need this. Okay, you can set the capacity that you want to reserve before the application is full. Memory, like you need some memory, right? So you can put that. Now, if you want to enable, can you see you want to enable App Insight? You can do that for data collection. Absolutely possible. Okay, now the moment I click on deploy, what is going to happen, right now, there is one model that I created. What is basically going to happen, when you will deploy, a model will be seen here. So whenever you deploy, the moment I'll hit this, you will see movie recommend engine, right? Let it get deployed. So I am trying to deploy a model. See, the model is getting deployed. If I come here, you will see a model getting registered in some time. Just wait. The model is, I think I have clicked somewhere. Where was the thing I need to check? Yeah, can you see this model got deployed? Absolutely fine. This one, movie recommend engine. You know what is this model? This is the model that I have just deployed. Yeah, this is the ML model. If you want to download this ML model, just click on this. Okay. This ML model, I'm just clicking on download. This is almost done. It's, yeah. This model is going to come with all the package. You will see it. Let this model get downloaded. Now, if you want to deploy it as a web service, right now I'm deploying it as an endpoint. I can just say I want to deploy it as a web service. I'll just show you what is the difference. Web app, okay. Movie recommendation. Let me just see. Until you do not have that, you cannot do this. I'll again use container instance. Do you want to enable authentication? It is expecting two things, entry script and the conda dependency, which I do not have. Okay, that's the only thing. So I need to have the entry script and I need to have the conda file, and then I can deploy if I want to deploy it as a web app. When you do not do this, when you do real time, everything is being taken care by Azure itself. You will see that. Okay, now, no, I have just downloading. I'll just show you. I'll just show you. It's not just the pickle file. There will also be configuration, YAML, everything. Yeah, I'll just come to the endpoint now. Here you can see this is my endpoint, which is going to be transition. Now this endpoint is not just the endpoint. Before that model got deployed, then this model is going to be running on the virtual machine. You remember? Wherein the Docker image is going to get created. Remember that. It's not just deployed and consumed. No, no, no. When you deploy a model, before what is happening at the backend, I'll go to the job. You will see here prepare image thing. Can you see? So this I already executed. In this image, actually there is a Docker. This image is actually a virtual machine on which my application got pushed. You can see Docker registry, the push. So basically what is happening when you try to deploy, actually it is going to first prepare an image, and that it will work. It will give some time. It will do automatically its work. Now I'll just open this, and here you can see this is my model. Okay, if I cannot see the format of this, extract all, I don't know, we can't see the format. Actually it should be a pickle file, but I'm not able to see the format right now. Okay, but this is not just a file. I told you it comes with everything right now. Okay, now if I come to the job again, you will see, let the image get prepared. This actually got prepared earlier. 1 second, let me just close. Yeah, if I come here in the logs, you will get an endpoint everything. Once this is here, you will see two more tabs. Endpoint you will see, and you will also see a UI where you can directly test it. Okay, it is saying failed. Why? showing failed. Wait for it some time because it is still transitioning. It may change its state, but it does work. I have tried it out, but since it was costly, I had to delete it. Should not say failed state actually. This is the inference pipeline that I created. What it is saying, failed on real time Azure ML service API error. Okay. Let me just open that aspect if I can just show. Please verify ASPR is part of private link. If private link is enabled, container registry is not found. Okay. Container registry is not found. Something. Why do I require it? It should automatically create, to be very frank, the container registry. I'll just show you what I mean. I'll come here. I'll come here. Actually, a container registry, at first got created and I deleted that container registry and it is trying to pick that same name right now. Actually, why is it saying container registry not found? Because there was a container registry that got created and I have actually deleted it way back. That's the reason it is saying container registry not found. Why I did that? Because that was a very costly affair. Just wanted to save the cost. That's the reason I deleted. And I'm using the same resource group. So it is not creating another container registry. It is taking by default the same name for the container registry. That's the only thing. Because if you see here, if I go to the job, and actually an image got created. I'll just show you what is this image about. If I come here and if I go to logs, you can see there is something that got created. So when this got created, actually a container registry also got created. I'll just show you that image just to give you more insight. This is the log. Okay. And let me just show registry contain ACR. Let me just type container registry. Can you see registry? Actually, I created. This is the container registry that was created, but I deleted and now it is not taking by default. Container registry it got created. Can you see? This was the image and this is the container registry. This is the name of the image Azure ACR.io. So actually it was created, but my bad. I deleted it. I thought it will auto create again. But I hope that makes sense to all. There are two data sets. One is train and one test. Train is required to train the model. Yeah. Test is for validating. Yeah, absolutely correct. So there's one more thing. Again, use GPT to create. And if time permits, actually, we can also deploy it. Okay. Maybe on cloud if we want to deploy. That actually it takes time. And the only issue is time. Right now, I'll just open this in a Jupyter notebook. Anaconda. Let me just open this. Because it is better in visibility when it comes to Jupyter Notebook. And just for the namesake, okay, I've already done the things. And before that, let me just delete whatever is going to consume a lot of, you can say, thing. I told you, you can try that container registry deployment. The only issue that is not working, I have already deleted the container registry that was part of this. And if I need to do it manually, then I need to do it via the SDK support. So that can be one trouble. So I'll not do that. Okay. Let me just explain you the things. So what do we have here? I've just created a PYNB file for the README. So let me just open for better understanding. And I'll give you a brief. So I want to create a movie recommender using Azure services. And here I am going to use Python as an SDK and Azure OpenAI I'm going to use. Okay. And apart from that, I'm going to use a SERP API. Now, what is SERP API? Google has something called as SERP API. So if I search for SERP API, okay, and if I go to serpapi.com and if I click on signing, and let me just close this. Yeah. So what is this SERP API? It actually gives you something for search. Okay, if you want to search something, it provides you something called as SERP API and it gives you some searches for free. Okay. So searches 250 search per month. Okay. And right now I've just done 50 this month, and 70 searches we can do. Okay, so this API I can use to search, and we can have Google Finance, okay, Google Search, Google Lite, anything you want to do via Google, you can do via this API. There are so many things, and it gives you for free for one account. Okay, and I can do 250 searches. Now I'm going to use this SERP API first thing. Apart from that, there is also something called as TMDB. Now, if I search for what is TMDB, okay, I'm just using it because this is a movie database. Okay, if I show you TMDB or the movie database, TMDB, T for the M for movie, DB for database, is widely recognized online database that focuses on movie, TV shows, actors, and production crews. Okay, this is a database which is community driven, which gives you API also. So for that, what do you need to do? I'll show you that website. So if I have just kept it here somewhere, TMDB API, I think, yeah, this is the website. Okay, so if you go to this here, you need to create an account. You need to fill the information to be able to get the API. So if I go to the setting, you just need to fill the information. Once you fill the information, what is the use case for which you want to try, you will get a read API access token. So you can use this, okay, to be able to read, or you can use the API key. So again, you get it for free. This is easy to access. Okay, now what I have done for a movie recommendation, I am going to use Azure OpenAI. So basically, when the user asks a question, I will search it via Google. Okay, and then I will also search it on TMDB. Okay, both the places I'm going to search, do a web search as well as a metadata search on you can say TMDB. Then I'm going to use Fast API to build my APIs, and then I'm going to create a front end of that API using a Streamlit. And once I get the response, I'm going to use Azure OpenAI to give me a processed answer. Okay, so what are we going to do in this? We are going to create one console app. Then we are going to create production grade API using Fast API. Okay, then we are going to create a Streamlit chatbot that is going to recommend movie, and at the back end we are going to use Azure OpenAI. Okay, we are going to use Azure OpenAI enriched by web result via the SERP API. Okay, now what is the thing that I require for this? I require all these aspects. I told I need TMDB, SERP API, okay, and Azure OpenAI. This again I have created all using GPT, to be very frank. Okay, so I have created one folder. I'll just show you this folder and we'll explain the code also. So this is the folder. First of all, I require Azure OpenAI endpoint. I need Azure OpenAI key. I need the API version, and I need the deployment of the GPT model. I also need TMDB access token. I need the SERP API token. Okay, and which region are we recommending the movie to the user? From which region? I have specified India. You can take the code, okay, from the internet for the country, and you can specify. And this is where my Fast API is going to run. This is my base of the Fast API. After this, if I come here, this is just the documentation. This is the package that will require. OpenAI I require to make HTTPS call. Okay, to the SERP I require HTTPX, Fast API, and to run Fast API I need a UVCon module, Pydantic to validate the data, Python.NET to read the file from env, Streamlit, and I need tenacity, okay, for TMDB. Again, this is for TMDB. Now, if I go under the source, I have created some folder. Again, this is not my work, all GPTs, okay. My thing was only prompt. So this is the CLI, okay. What is there in this CLI? If you see, basically, I'll just run the and show the things to you. So this is a CLI, okay, wherein we are going to go ahead and run. Again, this is Fast API. If you see Fast API, this is the Fast API code. Okay, again, when I'm writing the Fast API here, you can see I'm creating only one API. I'm going to make a post request. That means I'm going to add a question, and then it is going to give me a result. Okay, now apart from this, if you see this fast API, which is a recommend path, is going to go into recommender.rank and import something called as recommend. Okay, so what is this recommender? This is the recommender. If I click on this, this is the rank. Herein, what have we gone ahead and done? If you see, again, the process is pretty simple. Here, if you see, we are actually going ahead and ranking our result. Okay, whatever we are going to get. Fine, I'll just show you the output first, and that can be much more helpful. Here I have specified about the SERP and about the TMDB. Okay, how to access the TMDB. TMDB token will be taken, if you remember. And this is the SERP wherein I am going to get the result from the Google. Okay, here I have specified this is the SERP, the engine will be Google, and number of searches I want to do, I can specify here more than that. At one time, I am doing 5 searches. If you want to limit, we can limit also. That's the reason my count went to 50. Okay. So just to show you, here I have specified the config file. Okay. This is the configuration file for OpenAI. This is the configuration for LLM. Okay. If you see, this is the configuration file. From this, I am reading it here. From this config, if you see, I'm importing those things, and here I'm specifying the prompt. What is the prompt? You are a movie recommendation engine given a user preference and a list of candidate movies with metadata. Pick the best 5 for the user and explain each choice in one sentence. Return string JSON matching like recommendation ID. Okay, recommendation in which I am specifying ID, title, year, score, and reason. Okay, like just to show you. And here we are also using something like that prompt we are using, and then we are specifying the preference and using a what you can say chat completion of Azure OpenAI. Temperature, I think we should put it to 0. That will be better. That's it. And we are returning the response to the user. What I'm going to do, I'll just keep everything as it is. Let me open the terminal. Okay. And just to keep it simple, I have created, if you want, we can create an environment. I've already run it. Like I can create an environment right now. I think I have deleted the environment. Let me just create an environment. Python environment, VENV. This is the environment. In this environment, I have got a script folder. Let it execute. I am going to open that environment now. This is the environment. In this, I am activating the PowerShell to activate this environment. Let me clean. Next, I'll just show you how does it look like. So the first thing is I need to keep my Fast API app running. So this is my Fast API. If I go to the docs, it gives you a Swagger Open API specification by default. Here, if you want to check the health, you can check the health directly. And if you execute, you should be able to see that it is saying the status as open. Similarly, status is okay, status 200, okay. Similarly, if I want to do a recommendation, this is where again I am checking for the recommendation. It is expecting some information like what is the genre, and I need to specify the correct response, okay. I cannot do any word, I cannot put any word. I just need to, if I go to preferences here, you can see if I go to genre, what are the genres available? You can check all the things here. Okay, so in the genre, 28 basically indicates a type of genre. Okay, to be very frank. Similarly, if I go to here, if I go here, you can see there is something integer, and then there is null, and then languages. If I go, default is English. Okay, similarly, if I go to industry, you can see Bollywood, South, Hollywood. There are some industries that are available. Just to keep it simple, actually it expects the response from that parameter only. So rather than running this, let me keep it running because it needs to be run. Let me open another terminal. Okay, same thing will do. Environment is all ready. I'll just open the environment. Next, rather than running this, let me run the Streamlit. How do you run the Streamlit? You specify the app name with Streamlit run, and where is the app? Under the source, under the web, this is the application. It is a huge application. I have not written the same. Everything has been written using GPT. Everything, okay? Just to showcase. Okay, now I only had idea what I wanted to use, and that's how I was able to create. Let me just run this. This is how it looks like. Okay. Now, the first step it is saying pick up an industry, Bollywood, South, Hollywood. Let me just select Hollywood. I can skip also. Then it is saying which, now tell me TMDB genre ID. Like, are you looking for action, comedy, drama? So, whatever you want to specify, you can specify it here, or you can just select. This is also a cheat sheet, okay? Feel good, edge of seat, family, romantic, epic. I'll just go for epic. In the epic it is actually 12 is for this what you say uh, 12 comma 14 will give you epic. This is the generate. Now I'll just say confirm generate. Okay, now it is asking pick up a release year. I'm okay with 2022. I'll just say use this year. Which language? I'm okay with any of the language. Confirm. Which country code? I'm okay with US films. And now it is saying get the recommendation. If I click, I can even ask a question and ask it to recommend. But right now I'm just doing it directly from here. Again, just created it to help you understand that if you have something already available, like in your mind, you can frame it as an application, and that can be helpful. Now, if I show you, this is what I'm able to get. Can you see? It is recommending some things for me. Okay, based on what I told, it is giving me the Pinocchio, Bus in Boots. Has anyone seen any one of this? Doctor Strange, you must have seen. And it is actually getting the response from here, right? Google search. Now there are some buttons actually which are not working, like refining. If I'm 1 second, if I click on refine, I have not tried everything, but this is, if I click on this, you will see it is actually searching. Something is there related to this. Actually, the link is not properly embedded, but this is the total link. Okay. And I'm getting this kind of a response. Now, if you want to deploy, the best part is click on this deploy button. It gives you option how to deploy. Okay, so if you want to deploy it on another cloud, you can check for that, Snowflake, and this is already available. If you're interested to deploy, you can actually go ahead and click on deploy, go to learn more, other platforms, and here Streamlit directly gives you an option to deploy. So if you're interested to deploy it anywhere, you can just check for the concept how to deploy. Okay, so if you want to deploy maybe on some another platform as an image, maybe, okay, so you can check for that.
So today we showed you how to connect data sources, pre-process data, build a model, and deploy it for real-time recommendations. Remember, with Azure Machine Learning, you have an end-to-end platform that lets you create your own AI models and scale them easily. And before you go, don't forget about the free masterclass that I mentioned earlier. In the session, we'll help you apply what you have learned and show you a proven 3-step framework to land your dream AI job. So registration link is there in the description as well as in the pinned comments. So thanks for watching and make sure that you check out this video next.